Please tell me about why you're here today first, and then about this initiative that you're working on, and how did it get started?
So today's a huge step in the right direction as far as giving law enforcement officers a support network that they need going forward with this resiliency training. As you can see by the number of attendees here from a cross-section of police departments and law enforcement agencies across the state. This is an all-in effort to combat police and first responder suicide and combat substance abuse issues, relationship issues, other issues that might result as of the stressors of police work.
How long has this been going on, and is it getting worse, and why?
Nationally, the phenomenon of suicide is troubling. It's skyrocketing since 2016 and steadily through every year since then. There's been more police suicides than actual line of duty deaths, and that's absolutely troubling, and something needs to be done starting today.
Now, I want to ask you, does this start maybe with the training and the recruiting? Is there enough psychological screening and counseling and making sure that somebody can handle such a job?
Well, I believe our selection process is adequate as is. Members, especially coming to the state police, take a very rigorous written and oral psychological test, so they're vetted out very thoroughly. It's more so the stressors that are produced once they become an active member and they're on duty and they're answering calls and dealing with traumatic incidents out on the road. So coming into the role as a police officer, I say it's adequate what we're doing now as far as selection. But what we need to do is a better job going forward. And for example, today's resiliency training announcement is a good step in that. In addition, we're working on legislation now that would require pre-service academy training, suicide awareness for academy recruits, and in addition to that, training every 2 years thereafter for active law enforcement officers. Beyond that, the legislation would require the Attorney General's office to keep statistics on things such as race, gender, income, prior military service, and other statistics of a member that may have committed suicide, so that we can hopefully better gauge some causation factors down the road and prevent suicides.
I was going to get to that. You just touched on that right now. Preliminarily, can you say that there is a profile, older, younger, officers, married, single? Is there any trends so far?
I would say unequivocally no, and I can tell you with respect to our specific state police suicides over the last few years, one member was single, two were married, and then recently we've had two retired members in the twilight of their lives who should be enjoying their retirement, tragically take their own lives. So that's why these resiliency training efforts and some other programs that we've been discussing are so important to really get a handle on this crisis.
I would ask you a very intrusive question, but it's very relevant to the topic here. Did they leave notes, and did they give the reason for the suicide?
So each incident is different. Some have left notes. I've seen a few that have been very spontaneous, that have been coupled with substance abuse. So these issues all go hand in hand, and that's why we need to address all these issues as a global effort.
All right, now just talk specifically about the study you're doing with Monmouth. Again, just so we can focus on that for a minute. How did that get started? How long has it been going on? And when do you expect to have results so that you can implement something out of that study?
So earlier this year, in the spring, we were contacted by the School of Social Work at Monmouth University, and I can't thank them enough for that. And we're entering into a partnership with them where we will be surveying our members, our STFA members, in the next few months. The survey's already begun. We're looking to do a secondary survey in the fall, and then Monmouth University will take that data. And what we're looking to really gauge is what may be some of the factors that in fact prevent law enforcement officers from taking advantage of the existing programs we have, coupled with some of the new methods such as the resiliency training that we're going to be going forward with. We need our officers to know that it's okay to ask for help.
Would you be able to cite an example recently where somebody did come forward and it helped them, and they're now on the job and being an effective trooper?
Well, I mean, there's certainly confidentiality issues there, but I can assure you that we have some programs in place right now that are absolutely helping the members. But I believe with this resiliency training, the legislation, and the work with Monmouth University, that we'll be taking this to the next level. And like the general said earlier, even if we prevent one death, it's one more than we've already had. So we're very excited to get this project underway and help our members as best we can.
Last week I covered a press conference with the U.S. Attorney's Office. The DEA was there. There were several people from the Bloods gang arrested, including people who were working at a local rec center. So afterwards I went out and talked to people in the neighborhood where they said most of the drug dealing was going on. And so many people were so skeptical that what the prosecutors and the DEA said was even true. I said, but they have it on video, and they have it on they have it on audio. They pretty much have it dead to rights. And people were skeptical. How much of a challenge is this to an officer, to the stress level, distrust from the public, all this disrespect that we're seeing in the news? Does that play into this? And what would be your message to the public? And it's a very long question, I'm sorry.
No, and I understand it. And I can tell you that, our troopers, our municipal police officers, our county sheriffs and county police officers, they do their absolute very best every day. I mean, if you look at the headlines, month after month, there's some good investigations coming out of the state of New Jersey, well put together, well investigated. And, we have the Constitution of the United States, and if unfortunately a case gets lost because of the constitutionality of a very minor or major issue within the case, it's absolutely disheartening to the officer. They put their heart and soul into the investigation. I know from my own experience, and it becomes disheartening, and that absolutely becomes another stressor to that officer.
Anything else important I haven't asked you about that you want to say about this topic?
No, I just, again, we appreciate the public's support, and we ask for their trust and understand that, look, like the general said, we're armed with armor on the outside, but we don't have it on the inside necessarily. And the job takes a toll on our members, and we're very proud to get these programs underway and provide the best assistance we can to all police officers in the state of New Jersey.
And if an officer is watching this and they're feeling the blues or stressed or just things are not going right professionally and personally, what would be your message to them? If you could directly speak to them, what would be your message to them?
Just make the call. Pick up the phone, make the call. Call a brother officer, call a union representative, call somebody from your department, call a peer advocate. You have to pick the phone up. As we say now, phone calls are free. So, the worst call is the one that's never made. So don't be afraid. Reach out, pick up the phone, and ask for help.